So today this just arrived. It is Alldocube X. This is a very promising tablet that I backed on Indiegogo. So it was released as a crowdfunded tablet on Indiegogo back in October when I first paid for this one, and it was $219 US for the first early backers of it, which is a very cheap price considering that this right here has the same exact screen that you will find in a high-end premium Android tablet from Samsung. So it's got the exact same Super AMOLED panel. Now that has a resolution of 2560 by 1600. It is fully laminated, so it should be a great looking screen. Alright, so this box does look a lot like the other tablets that I have reviewed from Alldocube. And it seems to, okay, it's moved around a little bit in the package. So there we have the tablet. Wow, that feels really light and thin. I'll get onto that in 1 minute. We'll see what else we have here in the box. So we've got packaged up in here the power supply. I'm not too sure if this is going to be a Euro one. Hopefully it will be. Just get into this. Okay, it's from the top. We've got a Type-C cable, so that is USB to Type-C. That is in there. And, oh no, I don't have a charger for some reason. Oh no, here it is. It's actually in the side here. So yes, they have included an EU1. Now this is going to support MediaTek's Pump Express, which means faster charging, because typically an 8,000 milliamp hour battery could take about 4 or 5 hours on other tablets that don't have this tech. So the rating of this one, this has a maximum output of 12 volts, 1.5 amps. So that feels very thin. And there is our screen. So we do have side bezels that are rather slim. The top and bottom, yeah, they're not going to win any awards there, but I'll just check the weight. Now the official stats say 500 grams, and it's actually a little bit less, 491. That is a really good weight. And check out how slim this is. This is super slim. This has to be one of the slimmest Android tablets that I have seen. I'll just measure that. So that comes in at 6.7 millimeters. Now that is of course without the camera. There is a camera on the rear, so it sticks out a tiny little bit. That brings it up to about 7 millimeters there. And that is very good. So this is a super slim tablet. So just along the top here we have what looks to be an ambient light sensor. I don't think it's a front-facing flash. And then an 8 megapixel camera. On the back, a brushed alloy finish. This does feel really good in hand. It's not slippery. Got the Alldocube brand there. X on the back, and it does mark out and tell us where the Type-C port is, headphone jack, and then our power and volume buttons. This camera is also 8 megapixels here on the rear, and it looks like it could be, by the feel of it, maybe plastic that is covering that lens. Up the top of the X here, we've got two top-frying speakers, an SD card tray, so it does have micro SD card support, a microphone, and you see those speakers, those little grills there. Now these are tiny speakers, so I'm definitely not holding my breath that these will actually sound amazing, because normally on these tablets they're not very good speakers. Hopefully I'm wrong. On the right hand side we have a 3.5mm headphone jack there with mic support, I believe. Then we've got a side fingerprint reader and USB Type-C. Now I don't believe that this supports video out. Unfortunately there is no HDMI, so no video out on this tablet. Something manufacturers are dropping, but I will check it just in case I'm wrong there. Then on the left we've got metal volume and power buttons here. Now these buttons do not rattle around. They do have a good feel to them. So overall, the build quality of this tablet is quite good. It's premium. So I just powered it up for the first time, and the panel looks good. We've got a little bit of a black border you get around. Now this always happens, but it's not a huge thick border there. So far it's looking very good. An excellent screen. First impressions that is, of course. And here we have some vision settings. So they're very bright at the moment, and the font size by default is very small, and the display size. So their scaling they've set is something like 320 dpi with this high resolution, the 2560 by 1600. So there we go. We can tweak this up to our heavy desire. So that probably looks a little bit better actually increasing that. Now I'm quite fond of having things a little bit small. So I'll keep it about there just so we can see things a little bit easier with this video. And I'll go through the setup. I won't show you all that because that's just boring. We'll skip ahead now to what kind of apps we've got by default. So here you go. They've gone with a very colorful background. Of course, they're trying to show off this brilliant panel that this has. And the default apps that we've got, so everything looks to be pretty much stock there. Bloatware, maybe this one here, Files Go. I have no idea what that is. But otherwise, this seems pretty good. We've got Google's apps on there, of course, Drive Duo. Some things that you probably don't need. But overall, it's not crammed full of bloat. I'll take a look now at what we have in terms of the storage. So just quickly brought this up before. And we've got free 56 gigabytes on here, which is good. And we'll also check here if there are any updates. So RAM use, we're currently using 1.3 gigabytes of 4. So that is good. The OS is not using a lot. The launcher being stock and everything, that is definitely going to help. So about the tablet, it's Android 8.1 and a security patch level November the 5th, 2018. So that's not exactly recent there, not the latest version of Android either. But for these Chinese tablets that I have been reviewing, a lot of them are still shipping with just Android 8, so 8.1 I feel is okay in considering the price, of course, of this tablet. So far, the performance does seem really good, a lot faster and a lot smoother, definitely, than the Android Helio tablets I've been looking at. So I'm into display settings now, as you can see, and there is an adaptive brightness setting. So this obviously must be the sensor. There'll be an ambient light sensor right there at the top. So that's controlling the brightness. Now that I've turned off because I'm currently at 100% brightness. And the reason is that when I try to capture screens that have OLED or AMOLED panels, you get this flicker that comes in with my camera. Now this doesn't happen with the IPS panel. So maximum brightness, just measured it, is very good. It's just over 605 lux. So that's probably one of the brightest tablets, one of the bright ones I have. And you see this banding that is happening now. Now this is some pulse width modulation that's happening now. This is only happening on camera. That's just my camera that is causing this because I don't see that. So it dulls down nice. This is a good level. And around about 50 or 40% brightness is where I'd probably be running it most of the time. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to set that at 100% there. Now what is missing in the display here is normally we get mirror vision settings. And that allows us to adjust the white balance and your contrast, saturation, and things like that. We don't have that option here for some reason, which is a shame because with the MediaTeks, you normally get that in the MediaTek CPUs. You have some advanced settings that, these are ones I showed you before actually, and you got your sleep and all that, and you can change the display size as mentioned. That's the scaling. The current scaling that I have it at is 280 dpi. Now looking at some real world images, it looks really good, this screen. This is an amazing panel. I mean, when I first saw this in that Samsung Galaxy Tab, I thought, wow, that's a really nice screen. And it is fully laminated too, so you can't see any gap between the glass. And the blacks, look how black they are. They look very good. Really nice. Now, we do have a couple of modes on here that are helpful, of course, for your eyesight. So we've got what's called the reading mode. That's reader. See, it puts everything in black and white. And then, of course, we have the blue light filter, which they've named Global Eye Protection for some reason. This was one of the questions that did pop up that someone asked me over Twitter. So does it support YouTube streaming 1440p? Yes, it does, which is really good. I thought they might have capped it, but you can see 1440p, it's streaming fine. This is over 5G wireless. And sadly, this right here is Widevine level 3 support. So it needs security level 1 in order to get Netflix in full HD. So if you're going to be running or plan to run Netflix on this particular tablet, then standard definition only. Now, hopefully, Alldocube can release a patch that corrects this, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that. Now, what about performance, which is very important? So far, I've seen some really good download speeds from the wireless up to 21 megabytes per second. This is on 5G wireless here. The range seems to be good. I need to test it more. I need to go over the other side of the house to the apartment here. And in Chrome at the moment, you can see the scrolling speed's okay. It's mostly fluid. I have noticed that now and then you will get a little bit of stutter. I'll just go into Chrome very quickly as well and show you how that scrolling works here. So just refresh the page and load that again. So that pops up pretty quick, and the touch input all seems good. You see that the scrolling speed here is fluid for the most part, but you see there is some rendering lag. Look at when that comes in. So it's not a super high speed, high performance tablet there with that performance you can see, but it seems to load the pages in good. So I'll just click on something that I have not loaded before, that it's not in cache. And I didn't think that worked. There we go. So that about the Lakefield processor, that popped up really quick. So that was good. So what about gaming performance? We know that this chipset, the hexa-core, is not the fastest, but it does perform better than the likes of the MediaTek Helio X20 series. So that's the X23, the X20, and X27. This is on the lower settings. So it's the balanced graphics and then the medium frame rate. You can't go any higher, and you probably would not want to because it would just become too slow then. So it is playable. I managed to get 2 kills, and you're not going to get the best performance here. Definitely not. But I would say so far in my first hands-on with it playing this game that it is definitely playable. And other games such as Shadow Fight 3, this one runs in the native screen resolution of 2560 by 1600. It is very smooth. and a lot more playable this one. So it just really depends on the title, the kind of gaming performance you're going to get. Just finished up running Antutu, and it posts a decent score for this chipset. Now this is exactly the same kind of scores that I'm getting on the deca-core Helio X27, which has a way faster maximum turbo of 2.6 GHz. This one is 2.1. Internal storage speeds also check out. I mean, this is fine. This is eMMC 5.1 spec, the storage 64 gigabytes, and this is a lot faster than 4.5.1. This will definitely not be bottlenecking this tablet. It will be the chipset that'll be the bottleneck. As for your eBooks, they look really great on this screen, as you'd imagine. So eBooks performance is also very good. No problems with that. And zooming into the text as well, the quality of it is really good. Even when you do have it in portrait like this, you can't see really any jagged edges at normal viewing distances. Now, if you break out a magnifying glass, then you will. And a rather large, heavy PDF file, this seems to be good. When you do swipe ahead, just like any really Android tablet, it's going to be a little bit slow there, but your typical reading pace, no problems. And again, it looks so good on this very premium screen. As I showed you at the start, there's a fingerprint reader that's on the side. Let's just check the speed of it. It's about, in my experience, 2 seconds, so it's a little slow. That was about 2 seconds. I'll lock and do that one more time for you. That's an easy 2, almost 3 seconds. It's not the fastest, but it's good to have a fingerprint reader on this at least. And what about our sound quality? So it is above average. I kind of expected this because they did advertise and promote the fact that it has an AKM hi-fi DAC in there. So its digital to analog converter is something a little bit more special, not just one from MediaTek. And the speakers at the top, they've got decent volume. I find it to be fine. They don't have much bass at all. They tend to lack. They're only little small tiny speakers. Do vibrate at 100% volume. 3.5mm headphone jack quality sounds very good. It's clean. There's no static. There's no hiss. So above average audio. And I will give you a sample now of those top firing speakers. Alright, so after using this now for a good 5 or 6 hours, I must say I am impressed with what I'm seeing here. We have a premium screen on here that you normally have in a very high-end tablet, well, high-end Android tablet, and that of course is the Samsung Tab S4. That thing costs about 3 times more than this tablet, so it is a very, very nice panel. It is a shame that we don't have any mirror vision settings, so you cannot tweak the white balance, but I think there are applications out there that will be able to do this for us at least. So there's a way around that. So we have stock Android 8.1. We have speakers that sound above average compared to the other Chinese tablets that I have reviewed. 3.5mm headphone output is also clean and clear, and it is quite loud once you boost past that warning that Android will give you. It does seem to have a little bit of a power behind that there. Having that DAC is good than just using what your typical onboard MediaTek chipset would be to handle the audio. So that is good. Now the battery life, of course, I will have to give you an update on the full review of just how long the battery is going to last for. I think on a lower setting of brightness, this should go for about 8 hours, but this is just an estimate. I'll give you exact figures in the full review, and also charge times as well. Should be a lot better than your typical, again, tablet. So I feel for the $219 US that I paid, in other online retailers, I think it's selling now for about $300 US. I think that that is still a good price for this. It's very slim. I mean, look how slim this thing is. It's super slim, and it also has just a very nice build and finish to it. Fully laminated panel and everything. So that is checking out. The overall weaknesses of this tablet, as expected, the chipset. I mean, it's not a super powerful chipset, so certain games will be a little bit slower than other tablets. You will see a little bit of choppiness. It doesn't like a lot of heavy multitasking, and the Chrome scrolling, as I pointed out, it's alright. You know, at your normal reading pace, it's going to be fine, but you just see that it takes a little while to load in the images. That's probably because of the higher resolution, the 2560 by 1600. But to me, this seems like the best that I have seen so far, especially considering and factoring in the price. Yes, it's missing GPS. Yes, it is missing video output. So no HDMI and no Type-C video out, which is a bit of a shame. So I'm really looking forward to the Alldocube X2. If they do make another version, and they put a much more powerful chipset in this, it's going to be a hell of a tablet. Thank you so much for watching, and I do hope to catch you back with the full review of the Alldocube X here.